Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rise and Bloom into Conscious Leadership with myself, Emma, and Andrea. Hello, Andrea. How are you today?
Hello, I'm fine. I'm super excited to be here again. I feel that with every episode we go deeper into the topics and we connect deeper to our audience, and I hope you feel the same from our part.
I feel as well like the deeper connection that we also build with each other and the kind of things that we're going to do in the future in these retreats and how we're going to actually connect to others in our own unique ways and as like this dual force.
Exactly. I can see from my podcast and from my YouTube as well that with every episode we have new people following us, more, and more and more love that we receive. And because we go deeper within ourselves and within our relationship, that's what attracts, the soul aligned people that are open to receive our message as well.
I love that. I think today's episode is going to be a really nice one.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're really going to dive into what it feels like and how to actually lead an intuitive based business. So, for you, Andrea, I'd love for you to share first, like for you, what is an intuitive based business or an intuitive led business to you?
I love this topic so much because it's continuing to unfold for me. It's an ongoing process because intuition is such a subjective process, and nobody has the answers to your intuition for you. It's something that you discover, and it's something that gets deeper, and you get to connect deeper with your intuition with time, and with all the healing that you're doing and the growing and mastering your business and your craft and so on. So I feel that for me, intuition is something that it develops in time, and also that I need to ask myself every day, how does an intuitive business feels like for me? What's an aligned step that I can take today in my business? Like asking myself, like my day right now looks like waking up, doing some practices, and from that place of feeling aligned with the energy and clear with with how I feel, then I'm asking for a higher guidance. What's an aligned step that I can take today in my business? And that answer comes from my intuition. And it's something that, is different every day. Some days is like, I want to post, I want to I want to do so many things for my business. And some days is like, today I will go for a walk and just admire the nature, and maybe just write down on a journal in the park the thoughts that are coming through my awareness, and just being in the creative process. So it's in intuitive based business. It's something that feels good for you. It's something that feel aligned for your soul and feels like you want to do it. Like some characteristic is that it feels exciting in your body. You feel pleasure. You're excited to do it. You have the motivation. You have the energy, and you also, like, by doing what feels aligned for you, that's coming from your higher self, from your intuition, you also, like, things flow. You see your business flowing. You see yourself receiving new clients, receiving new opportunities. Things feels easy instead of comparing to a business based on mind level, when you're like following some structure or steps or guidance or procedures that doesn't feel like you, and it feels like you're fighting against the current, and it feels like you're stuck, or the energy is sticky, or the things are not working easy, or things like that. So that's the difference for me, and that's how I see my business on an intuitive based level. How is it for you?
I love that. I definitely agree with you pretty much on all of this. One thing I wanted to add to expand on as well is this. like what feels right for you may not real feel right for somebody else. So really, like, intuitive based business is first about the connection that you have with yourself, the connection that you have with your internal world, with what's happening inside, because this is the foundation that allows you to build something that is truly connected to your soul on the outside. If you are in the mind, or also in what other people are saying is right for you as the foundation of your business, of course it's amazing to lean on, to not lean on, to lean into mentors and guidance and support systems that are nourishing, that are expanding our own guidance to support our journey. But when these things are the foundation of our journey, of the things that we're building on the outside, then we start to build things, and then it kind of, we're in this inner conflict with ourselves, because what we're looking at isn't a reflection of what we truly want to create. So to
Mm-hmm.
me, like, this intuitive based business, or whatever you want to call it for yourself, is really about first, like, connecting with how you listen to yourself, like what your guidance is saying to you, how it speaks to you. And this is in many different ways for many different people. Some people it might be more visual based, some people it might be more
Mm-hmm.
feeling based, some people might hear
Yeah.
their intuition speaking to them, like tuning in to how it speaks with them in their unique way first, and like playing with this in lots of different areas. So this can be as simple as playing with it as, like, what do I have for dinner tonight? Am I going to have this, or am I going to have this? And listen to
Mm-hmm.
that deeper part of you talk. And I always find the intuition talks in a much more quieter, there's no force there, it's a clear yes or no, there's not so much a
Mm-hmm.
long explanation behind it like the mind will tend to have. And when you drop into this, like cultivating this relationship, building this, and having this as the foundation for the way that you show up in the outside world, the way that you build your business, the way you create your practice, then allows you to create something that won't be a mismatch from what you're
Mm-hmm.
feeling inside. Whereas if your foundation is, oh yeah, that business coach told me that I had to do it this way in order to be successful, or this was the only way for me to receive clients, or me to receive abundance through the work that I do, through the art that I create, then you're always going to be in this mismatch, because you'll be creating something on the outside, but you're like, why does this not feel good? You might make money from it, but it's not going to feel good. It's not going to nourish your soul. And that's not to say that following your intuition and an intuitive based business doesn't have its challenges, doesn't have its moments when you're doubting yourself and questioning yourself, but there's something about it on a deeper level that feels nourishing, that feels good.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah, you're right. And I love how you like describe the different types of intuition that you have based on how you learn things. Like
Mm.
you can have image based, like feeling based, instincts, and it's about like when you start connecting with your intuition and asking about your business is like you'll hear some soft whispers, and in order to really feel that connection and communicate like you would communicate with someone that's a friend that's in front of you, you need to keep asking questions, you need to keep connecting to yourself. It's a work that is reveals in time. The more you connect with your intuition and experiment with what feels good for
Mm.
you, because it's all about experimenting. It's all about understanding which is the voice of my mind, which is the voice of my instinct, which is the voice of my intuition. And the more you experiment and you listen to all of these voices, and you see how it feels when you listen to your mind in your reason, how it feels when you listen to following pleasure, when you follow intuition and see the results, you'll see that leading an intuitive based business is like the most fulfilling type of
Mm.
business that you can lead, because it's not only bring you the most fulfillment, but it also have like the easiest way of leadership, let's say. So um I want to talk a little bit now about um, how you can use your intuition to grow your business. So, as I said, some practical steps would be like in the morning to ask yourself, like, what's an aligned step that I can take today in my business? During the day, if you have some important decisions, you can just sit with yourself in silence, ask your body, see if you receive an image, a sound, a word, impulse that you want to do something. Or, I love to ask my subconscious mind before going to sleep, like, I want to make this decision, one which decision is best for me to take. And usually I dream something, or
Mm.
I wake up in the morning with this feeling that, like, choose that or do that or follow this step. So these are some practical ways that you can use intuition to grow your business.
Mm.
How would you advise someone that is not so connected to their intuition, or want to develop their intuition more to uh, grow their business
Mm,
based on
mm.
their
Yeah.
intuition?
Definitely what you said, experimenting is a huge part of this from a place of curiosity. One thing that I used to experience on my journey that I think a lot of people come to when they're learning and developing their intuition and listening to it, and I'm still also learning this process, is this feeling of when we connect to it and when we hear the guidance and we take action from that guidance, expecting the outcome to be there instantaneously. So, for example, you might receive a guidance to do a certain post, or you might receive a guidance to set something up like we did with this retreat, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be. And then expecting straight away those results to show, like the clients to be there, the people to be watching all the episodes on the podcast. Like I remember when I started my podcast and I was like, right, in a month, I'm going to have 1 million listeners, like this kind of thing. Because I had this download and I was like, well, if I'm following my intuition, the outcomes are going to be there straight away. And
Mm-hmm.
I found that's not the case. I found that actually when you follow your intuition and when you trust yourself, you have to do this from, well, not have to, but in my perception, you need to do this from a place of detachment from the outcome. You're following it
Mm-hmm.
for the pure joy, for the pure pleasure of following it, for the pure joy of creation. This is why
Mm-hmm.
your intuition will feel fulfilling to you when you're detached, because it's really just playing in your own soul's expression and creativity. And this to the soul, this is what's nourishing. This is what it wants to experience, not the outcome, not the clients, not the money, but actually the journey that takes you to that. And the more you go into that play, the more you go into that fulfillment, that joy of that experience, the more all of these other things become byproducts of that, because they're becoming the outward reflection of how you're feeling inwards. So for people
Mm-hmm.
that are like starting out on this journey, the guidance that I would give, especially to my younger self,
Mm-hmm.
is to take the steps that your intuition is showing you in however way it shows itself to you, whether that's visual, hearing, and just playing around with these different ways, and to take the steps that it shows you without that expectation for what that step is going to create. Because I found my intuition may take me somewhere, and that's actually not the thing that I'm supposed to do, but it's
Yeah.
actually just the step that is like into a new dimension. So for me, for example, podcasting, originally I was like, I just want to do a podcasting and this is my thing and I'm going to be a podcaster, because I was following my intuition to create a podcast, to do this. And what I've realized, that actually podcasting for me has been a huge opening to my own self-expression, to connecting with incredible individuals also in this industry, to like starting new projects from the podcast. It was never about actually becoming a podcaster. So if we
Mm-hmm.
so if we detach from the expectations, detach from the outcome, we can still have the excitement of what could be the outcome, but it's more about play, it's more about having fun. So the intuition, and there's a lot of pressure we put on ourselves around connecting to our intuition, following our intuition, receiving the downloads, having the symbols in the dream and synchronicities. All of this is supposed to be fun. It's not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be heavy, it's not supposed to be difficult, it's not supposed to feel like it's like a burden, following this. So really, the best guidance that I would give is allow it to be fun, be curious about what's coming through, follow what's coming through, even if it doesn't make sense. But also allow yourself to detach from the outcome of what following that could be.
I feel this is the hardest
Mm.
thing to do when we come from the goal oriented leadership, where we have, some quarter goals and monthly goals and week goals, and then we see that even though we may meet those goals, we are not happy, we're not fulfilled in your
Mm.
business. So we then transition towards, what does it feel good for me, toward this more intuitive based leadership. And I think that the conditioning here is to leave behind the goal, the focus, the standards, so you can set the intention and then release it to the universe, because
Mm.
intuitive based business means that you ask for an aligned step, then you do it, and then you release it. Then you don't obsess about, the thing that's like you need to receive in your life. Like, you do the step that came down for you, and then you release it, and you allow yourself to receive the answer. So for example, lately I've been really stuck with my content for Instagram. It was also because the platform changed a lot, like the likes and shares and everything like slowed down. But it also that it was a thing that I felt disconnected from my message, and I felt like I grew more than the past niche, and I was like working already on another level to my clients, so I couldn't express myself anymore in my content, and I felt this block. So I asked for guidance. I asked, what can I do to shift this? Can I do? Like, should I change the platform? Should I go more on YouTube? Should I, like, erase my Instagram, or should I try to shift my tone of voice there? What can I do? And I asked for this goal, and for a couple of weeks I didn't receive anything. Like, it was blank. It was like I was in this stuck energy, and I
Mm.
did my practices, my healing practices and everything, but it didn't came through. And like, just this morning I woke up with this feeling like, you need to go for a walk, you need to go in the park. I had some things planned for today, but I was like, but I just woke up with this intuition that you need to go to the park, and you need to go by walking. And it was like it's a 2-hour walk from my house to the park. And with the park itself, it was like a 3-hour walk, and I was like, what? I don't walk this much usually. Why should I go like a crazy
Yeah,
person to the park and go like walking and everything? And while I was walking and
I
like
love
going
these
through the
stories.
park, like I have goosebumps when I share this, because it was like God was like started living in my heart, in my brain, in my soul.
Mm.
And I started to receive so many downloads and ideas, and a new niche that I want to bring in, and what's my ideal client now, and how do my soul wants to be expressed now through words and images, and what's my new tone of voice. And it was like, if I didn't go to the park, and I was like, what a stupid intuition, I don't, it's like not my type of thing to go
It's 3
walking three
hours. Yeah, it's
hours
not
Yeah,
practical. Yeah.
yeah,
All
exactly.
the
I
things
need
the
instead
mind
to,
says.
yeah, I need to stay instead of and brainstorm and on a piece of paper on my house and try to find the answers with the mind. But I was like, okay, I received this intuition, then I will go, and everything shifted for me. So this is a practical example of, you set an intention, you wait for the answer, and then when the answer comes, you take the aligned step that's
Mm.
that's for you, and you you shift that thing. That's the
Mm.
the embodied way of leading
Mhm.
intuitive based business.
I love that. How space creates that. Like sometimes we have to live in that place of uncertainty, in that space, in that stillness to allow something new to come in. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, if we carry on, we're still playing out the programs of like the
Mm-hmm.
stuckness and the confusion and whatever it may be. And what you did there was like gave yourself in a way, it's not almost waiting, it's actually holding space for that to come to you, like for you're in the now, you're present with your reality, because we're also not kind of denying what's happening right now. Like, yes, I'm uncertain right now. Yes, I'm not sure right now. And allowing life to come through you to give you some new ideas, some new inspiration that then you can
Mm-hmm.
take action from, that then you can follow. And it's inspiration that feels light, that feels fun. Like, it doesn't feel like what you would have probably found if you did sit down and brainstorm and try to use the
Yeah.
mind. So this is what we do when we are in this space of following our intuition as a leader, as a business owner, as an artist, a creative, is that we are cultivating this trust with
Mm-hmm.
ourselves to take the action that maybe doesn't always feel like it's like directly impacting or serving our
Yeah.
business, but it's actually is serving ourselves or nourishing ourselves. So like the intuitive hit to get a walk, like if we're in the old paradigm or in the goal orientated space,
Mm-hmm.
then we think, how is going for a walk going to help me in my business? Or how is like
Exactly.
being away from my desk for 3 hours going to support me to get some new ideas or whatever? We might think, oh yeah, I'm going to take a 10-minute break and refresh, but we don't see the kind of the connection between the two.
Yeah.
Because in this old paradigm of work and in business, to me, it's like X equals Y. Like there's
Yeah.
just this equals this. You know, you sit at your desk, you get this many hours, you get this much results, and then it's just this linear thing. Whereas really like what we're stepping into now, what this new conscious leadership, conscious business is really about, is like following and honoring our own unique systems within how we show up in life, in work, in business, and learning to realize that actually it's not always about like the time that we put into the business that actually allows that business to expand or new things to come through. It's actually more about how we're showing up and the things that we are the things that we are doing, the person that we're being, whether that beingness is going for a walk, taking the day off. Sometimes, honestly, like I've had days where I've just sat in bed for 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, I've
Exactly.
like honestly, and that has served myself, my creativity in ways I don't even know how to describe, right? So it's not about, we're taking away this desire to look for the results, and instead we're focusing on what nourishes me and how can I honor what's coming through to me and how can I take steps in that direction when it feels not from a place of force or not from a place of I have to or I should do, but from a place of this feels exciting and fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and on the contrary, I feel that sometimes the thing that comes through, it's exactly the opposite that we think it may help us, you know.
Mm.
Like if you are too much in the masculine doing and overdoing, like the thing that will help the most is surrendering, resting, letting go of control, like taking your hands off of your business for a few days, a few weeks, and creating space for creativity, for your intuition to live in. If you're too much in your feminine, then you know the counterintuitive thing that you need to do is to create a little bit of structure, to
Mm.
set up some guidelines in your business, to create a routine, to commit to having a like a schedule, let's say, because the feminine tends to be too flowy and too like out of context and too surrendering, to letting go. So it's opposite than you are used to be sometimes,
Mm.
and behind those lessons is the balance that you need, because we need
Yes.
to be both. We need to be masculine and feminine integrated. So it will feel uncomfortable to do the thing like for me, because I try to find the answer with my mind lately. The intuitive pull was to be in my feminine and go for a walk and surrender and let go and make space for guidance to come in. So that's something that, and I feel like, we are channels for our business. We are channels with our higher self, right? Because we channel information, we channel guidance for other people. So I feel that when we try to add the mind in the process, the mind blocks this channel of
Mhm.
receiving, blocks the channel of the true guidance, the best support that we can help, and the best, thing that we can do for our business. And the more we try to be logical and, try to find the perfect steps and the perfect recipe, I think that the more we get stuck and we feel blocked and we feel disempowered and we feel lost from our true self, because our true self just wants to express their
Mm.
authenticity, their freedom. It's freedom, it's authenticity, it's unique self, through our content, through our business, through our work, with our clients. So it's a work of deconditioning, it's a work of awakening. I feel like we are awakening now to this new way of leading business, which is new, which is new, and it's like
Mhm.
not a lot of business mentors work on this, way of leading a business. Usually there is the masculine type of business coaching that advises how to lead our business. So it's more of a travel within, of a journey within us, to
Mm.
find, to try to find how does intuition sound for you, how does having an intuitive based business sound for you, and how can you hone this leadership skill to grow your business.
I definitely agree with you on that one, and I think, and this is also requires us to have patience with this process. Like both of us have been on this journey for a while now, and I've looking at people that have also been on this journey 20, 30 years, and we're still learning, we're still constantly evolving. So I think one thing we have to also allow ourselves to be comfortable with is these periods of uncertainty, is these periods of change when we have to, when we hear the new information that's coming through, like we kind of have to be ready to just let everything fall away that was not
Hmm.
working and allow new things to come through that are going to serve us, that are going to work. Because as we evolve, so does our intuition in how it guides us, because what's right for you in this moment will be different in the next moment. So
Yeah.
allowing yourself to move with that process is really important. And this is why, like, what comes to mind for me is like this, as you were talking about there, the balance of this masculine feminine energy. It's like the river flowing, and the banks at the side. It's like we allow the flow to happen, like however it wants to flow, however it wants to change, and then we build those structures around that that support that flow.
Hmm.
And I think this is what I've learned through the inside journey, like the internal work, is like I'm constantly dying to the version of myself I was yesterday. I'm
Hmm.
constantly in this death rebirth process. It's not
Yes.
something that feels heavy anymore. It's not something that I have to work hard to do. It's just something that I allow naturally to happen now, because the more light I emanate, the more I see clearly the shadow, the more I see clearly the things unseen that are actually there not serving me, but there to show me the way, them to deepen my trust with myself. So also
Yeah.
with leading an intuitive based business, it's really about like allowing the flow to happen, allowing the death of things that are not, like, it sounds like a dark way, but allowing the
Hmm.
things to fall apart that are not working for new things to be built. But those internal foundations, those those, like if you're looking at a house, right, we take all the structure down, but those internal foundations we keep strong, we keep there, we
Hmm.
keep that connection with ourselves. Okay, sometimes we have to go deeper within those foundations, sometimes we have to really look closely at what's going on within those foundations, sometimes we can shift our own perceptions, but that structure can keep falling down and be building back up.
Yeah, I love how you describe like tower moments, like the tower moments
Yes.
as in the oracle decks,
Yes.
like, and the more we allow, the more we will become comfortable with that discomfort and tolerating, like, being sticky, stuck, overwhelmed.
Mm.
So the
Messy.
more it will allow ourselves to grow and pass that moment, and I feel it's like we have moments of stability, moments of growth, moments of changing. Is never this, linear growth in our business. It's like, ups and downs, stability, ups and downs, and growing and trusting yourself again and losing your trust sometimes, but coming back to that point. I love to think about that point, that it's like a super peaceful point within yourself, which I also consider that's where my intuition is coming from. It's like a quiet room, where I'm standing, no matter if like experience a super happy moment or a super sad moment, or like around me is chaos or some bad things are happening. It's like this place where it's stillness and it's quiet and I can come back to myself. And this is the place where I am connecting to when I'm asking for guidance. Is this quiet place in myself that has all the answers, all the resources, all the all the support that I need and I ever needed and I will ever need. So maybe this will, because it's really helpful to think like in a more practical way, like how does the intuition looks like for you. For me, it's a room, a quiet room inside myself, and I can connect easier with something that I can visualize with my mind's eyes, let's say. So you can, a good exercise for you to connect deeper with your intuition is to imagine, is your intuition maybe like an angel, a higher self, like the best version of yourself. It's a room inside yourself, it's a cloud of quietness, is your happy place, maybe, thinking about a place where you've traveled to and you've been like the most happy you've ever been. It's a really cool exercise that you can do with yourself to put an image to your intuition.
I love that, especially when you're visual.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're
Mhm.
visual, but also like
Feeling
you
things.
can use a sound, like a song, a
Mm.
relaxing song if you're like more auditory. Writing may help, if you're like also more visual, or talking with yourself if you're auditory, like asking question out loud. For me, it really helps to manifest things when I talk things out loud, like
Mm.
I'm so tired with this. I want a new reality. And then, like, when I get annoyed a little bit, like things are starting to shift.
It's like all the and I think that's an important point to note on there as well, is like even when you're following like the intuition, when you're creating an intuitive based business, like this is when all those agitations, those shadow aspects of self, those challenging emotions are all gonna come to the surface, because life will show you what is blocking you from experiencing this reality or feeling into this new path that you're creating, new lifestyle that you're creating for yourself. Is going to show you all the things that are in the way of that, all the things that where you're standing in your own way through your own belief systems, your own structure. And I found it's not about like going to find those things, but instead
Mhm.
allowing life to show them to you, and then also going in within yourself or working with a practitioner to help you shift through those things so that you can then create space for more of that to come through. So that's why I love to work with these more challenging emotions and like actually allow them to be there, like bring love to them. Something one of my mentors said to me the other day was letting go is the same as love. And I thought this was beautiful. Like it's the same thing, like love that part of you, that version of you that is afraid, that's overwhelmed, and this will allow those emotions to then transition and create space. And like what I can't remember who said it, but what you resist persists, right? And the same thing works within our business. Like this is a growth journey. This is not just creating a business and building a business from the mind. This is a whole journey that your whole body goes on, that your whole being and your soul goes on. So enjoying that process and working with yourself through that process is what will support you through this journey. So as we come to an end of this episode, Andrea, do you have anything that you would like to add or anything you'd like to share for people who are wondering, like, how can I deepen this intuition? How can I follow and create an intuitive based business?
Yeah, I feel like in our training today, in our talk today, we gave some pretty good introductory tools that you can start, like We talked about why intuition is an essential leadership skill, how to use your intuition in your business, how to develop your intuition, and how to trust your intuition in making decisions in your business. So, for going deeper with this topic, we will lead a retreat in January in Ibiza, where, as you can see, we are not giving you advice, or we are not giving you steps. We are turning you back and into yourself, back to yourself, back to your intuition. We are um, basically providing you with tools and practices that can help you find your way to yourself and expand your skills, your intuition, so you can create a business that feels good for you. So, in this retreat, we will combine our NLP with hypnosis and dance practices and embodiment, so you can turn back to yourself and really understand the voice of your intuition. And when the process is done face to face in a group of powerful women and men entrepreneurs in a beautiful setting in Ibiza, I feel it's like it will be a really powerful experience that will awaken like a huge part of you and your intuition.
Mm, I love that. I think that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in. Don't forget to head down to the show notes to join our waitlist for the retreat. We look forward to seeing all of you guys here with us, and we'll be back again in 2 weeks' time on Thursdays for our live. So if you want to join us live and ask the questions that you have, feel free to come. If not, we'll see you on the replay. But thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you for
Thank
listening
you,
to us.
everybody. Much love.
Much love.
Goodbye.
Bye.